Everyone in cryptocurrency is always looking for the next big thing, right? The next coin, the next blockchain. Well, that starts with being a platform, in my opinion. You can have some standout projects, right, that live on other platforms, but a easier path, to put it simply, to success would be to be building a platform and then have that platform gaining traction, having other projects build on it, and then just reinvesting and growing and just incubating, nurturing that ecosystem. We talked about a project last year that hasn't stopped building since we covered it before. That's going to be Concordium, and it focuses on building blockchain for businesses. But what do businesses need? They need users, they need consumers, and there's been a big just direction change or simply addition towards Web3 and NFTs. My name is Vosk. You're on the VoskCoin YouTube channel. We're going to break it all down today. So we pull up the Concordium site, which last year, it was much earlier in this project's life. No token, no buildable blockchain. Really, it was very infantile, right? But the largest migration in the history of the world is happening. But what does that mean? The world economy GDP, 95 trillion, 1.7 trillion blockchain global GDP by 2030, according to somebody that's smarter than me. That's the migration that's taking place here. To migrate global business to blockchain, though, enterprises need a trusted public chain with all the benefits of a private one. To be honest, as a crypto degen and just not a business that's really going to build on someone else's blockchain, this project initially didn't catch my eye. But they reached out, sponsored a video, and I've kind of been intrigued ever since. One measure I always look for in cryptocurrency projects are, do they have any sort of grants? Right? That's them investing in their own ecosystem. They didn't have this then, but they've got it now. Concordium is offering up to $100,000 to build on the ID blockchain they claim of the future, right? So we got a dramatic movie intro there. But basically, you want to build something and you need the funds? Apply. Cryptocurrencies are so generous compared to really every other sector because they need builders. Right? And even, not to sound mean, but a mediocre project can get so much funding in the crypto sector sometimes because they have money to invest and they just need somebody. They need something. They need some kind of flagship, right? And you have to focus here on NFTs. Of course, the thing we still never stop hearing about: metaverse, gaming, esports, DeFi, decentralized finance, that enterprise original kind of focus of businesses on the blockchain. Then you have Reg DeFi and digital ID, or your Web 3.0 identity. They want people building on their blockchain, which is their own blockchain that utilizes proof of stake and has a delegation to pools. I'm a visual guy, so I was digging around. They have a 2-minute video on their YouTube basically going over this, right? The pool uses CCD, which is their own token that is now live on chain, and they use this for baking, and it pays the delegator back a portion of the rewards. Here's a quick snippet of it.
Delegation is a great way for you to stake and earn rewards without having to run a baker yourself. In the basic form of delegation, users actively choose a pool to which they want to delegate their stake. That pool can then use these CCDs for the baking and pays the delegator back a portion of the rewards. It is crucial that users delegate to good pools. If the pool is not performing well, users will get low or even no rewards. Even worse, if too many users delegate to malicious pools, there is the risk of them taking over the system.
As a US citizen, you can't participate in the initial buying of this token unless you're an accredited investor. They have a public release on this though. It's available for US persons just when it comes to buying their token from Concordium, the company that they have. Masari's been putting out a lot of good research recently, and they have a breakdown on Concordium. they condense a lot of good research here, so let's touch on that. Concordium is a layer 1, it's its own blockchain. That's what that means. Proof of stake, permissionless, decentralized, science-backed, sustainable blockchain with an ID layer, whatever, to ease regulatory compliance. Okay, so there's, cyberpunk stuff, edge runners. We're going to do our own thing. Which I think is fun and awesome. But then there's also this huge window of opportunity for compliant, work with the government type blockchains. And this has been their mission from the beginning, so I don't have a problem with that. Concordium was launched in 2018 by a co-founder of Saxo Bank. This is a true merger of banking mindset utilizing blockchain technology. Enter the Concordium Foundation and the operative company Concordium AG. Both founded two wings of this, project, if you will. They also deployed the Concordium Research Center. Aarhus was founded to work on the needed technological bricks, especially the consensus and the finalization algorithm. Enter 2020, and we see testnet activity. 2021, we see mainnet launch. Enter 2022, delegation to a pool, among other features which we've touched on. These new features that are here this year that utilize the CCD token. It's not in a non-degen team. It's actually a lot of people, all public, on their team page. You can click on them, learn more about them, and I invite you, if you decide to, pursue anything related to this project, take a second and research the team. It's astonishing how many people will spend so much time and money in crypto and they don't even look at a picture of someone behind the project. And I'm not even saying you should judge somebody by a picture, right? But more so, find someone, click on them, see what they do, see what they bring to the table, or even just see how many people are involved. Because, for example, look at this operations team. It keeps going. We go over the tech team, pretty heavy as well. These are a lot of people associated with this project. Lars Christensen, okay, who we touched on already but didn't say his name, the co-founder of Saxo Bank, okay? He's putting his money where his mouth is. Chairman of the Swiss nonprofit Concordium Foundation, global pioneer in FX and derivatives trading, has announced a further investment in the ecosystem around the Concordium blockchain to the tune of $10 million. This is very recent news. This is all new money, big money. Why? For what? The funds will be used to finance projects looking to build on or integrate their dApps on the Concordium chain. As a major area of growth for the blockchain is funding projects related to DeFi, gaming, the metaverse, and various industrial applications. What excites me here? DeFi, gaming, metaverse. Okay? And just think about that. 10 million euros. Let's put it in simpleton terms. Let's just say, especially with the recent parity, it's $10 million. $10 million is a very large portion of just this project's market cap. That's interesting. That's someone investing in their project themselves. Basically, again, not to sound redundant, but putting their money where their mouth is. That's cool to see. On that same vein, they partner with Versus Metaverse to expand beyond the Ethereum mainnet to combat steep gas prices. NFT minting and changing ownership transactions for the Versus Metaverse are executed on the Ethereum mainnet. Layer 2 takes care of the mini transactions like playing a game, training a pet, and they hope that the Concordium, which, boasting here state-of-the-art science-based ID layer, would allow them to perform identity checks and provide accountability without sacrificing privacy, and can even offer verified gamers fun and unique in-game experiences like battle, tournaments, and competitions. So I'm like, okay, let me see what's going on with this, right? So we click over, we see some activity here. That's good to see. What exactly is going on? Initial impressions, I'm getting Professor Oak vibes here with a little bit more science going on. A little Digimon, right? We got Mew 3 in that tank. Minting soon here. We click on train, we start to see an example, Cal Fire. This is clearly a Pokemon, you know, kind of style type game. We can even use a bento box. Love that. The training gym is not opened yet though. The battle pool is not here, but this shows they're gonna have some kind of battling mechanic. And this reminds me of, just hear me out. You know, I played a bunch of weird, fun, random games growing up. 1, did any of you all use Newgrounds in its golden era? But 2, and I don't mean to sound offensive these days, but, and this isn't actually even related to Newgrounds, but it just seems like it would come out of Newgrounds, a game called Hobo Wars. You know, if you know, you know. Let me know down in the comments. Crazy times. Internet used to be just so much more fun. Now everyone just sits there and watches dances on TikTok. And it's no wonder this world is just not as cool as it was 10, 20 years ago. Aside from cryptocurrency. One other cool note about this project is the fact that it's building on their chain, right? And they're bringing NFTs and their own tokens. Again, kind of creating and building out that ecosystem. You can participate with Concordium using their wallet. New generation of their Android wallet is live. But that's not the only wallet they have. They have one for iOS, Windows, Mac OS, and Ubuntu. And it's so funny how things have changed. A crypto bringing their own wallet, which is really just ending up being a fork of someone else's wallet, was like, yeah, they did something. They got a feature, boys. Let's go. And now people need like full-fledged AAA title games to be like, yeah, that project's doing something. But developing those games takes years, not days or weeks like we all want in this rapidly evolving and changing crypto sector. When you look at their wallet, you see a professional style design, just kind of breaking it down simply, a focus on their ID aspect, and it does look a little more professional than we see with other cryptocurrencies, and that kind of falls in line with their goals and branding here. Again, in full transparency and a disclaimer, right, Concordium has supported VoskCoin, right? But just because that's the reason I learned about the project doesn't mean that, you know, I'm just not kind of intrigued long term. And now that Ethereum's moved to ETH 2.0, the merge and their proof of stake blockchain, I don't want to sound petty, right? But I'm rooting for other projects to smack them in the face to prove that Ethereum, at its inception of its 2.0 proof of stake blockchain consensus mechanism, it's antiquated, archaic, just dated, right? And I want to see some of these other blockchains that built to be more scalable and just simply better from the beginning. Punch ETH in the face. Sincerely, your ex-miner girlfriend. My name is Vosk. You're on the VoskCoin YouTube channel. Let me know your thoughts on Concordium down below in the comments below. As always, thanks for watching. See you on the next video.